Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 28th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, well, I'm doing pretty good. You already know that. This is part two. It's a bit of a bonus, if you will. I looked at my news docket, so to speak, and I was like, I have so many stories. I want to make sure they get covered. So I took some extra time, and we're gonna cover some more stories today. So there we go. I'll spare you obviously the rigmarole. You already know how today went, but we are gonna do a startup. Hey, work is getting done, so our breaks get done. All right. First story comes from CNN. Mexican journalist who covered drug cartels found dead on highway with note next to body. A Mexican journalist who reported on drug cartels was found dead Saturday on a highway with a note beside his body, a news outlet he worked for reported. Miguel Angel Beltran's body was wrapped in a blanket on a highway connecting Durango State to Mazatlan, a city in the cartel-plagued Sinaloa state, according to the news site Contexto de Durango. The outlet reported that the journalist was identified by his son, who last saw him on Thursday when they left for work. A note was discovered next to his body that reportedly read, "For spreading false accusations against the people of Durango," according to local media. CNN cannot independently confirm the contents of the message, but such notes are often left by cartels as warnings to anyone who would dare cross them. Skipping ahead on this. Beltran had worked for various media outlets, including Contexto. He also operated a blog and TikTok account where he covered crime-related news and other topics. Several days before his death, he posted a video on TikTok about the arrest of a suspected gang leader. So I'm imagining that was probably the main reprisal, or what caused this reaction maybe from the cartels. I don't know. Obviously, I'm speculating here. Obviously, very unfortunate. It seems like he did a lot of great work and went out of his way to get that work out. There's something I find very admirable about a person who not just goes through the obviously very just grade A, hey, in this situation Contexto, but going to having your own blog, having a TikTok, because you really got to be on it. You really got to be at it as a journalist in this day and age. Obviously, not that I would know from any experience. Not a journalist, duh. But once again, I always like to say that was something I was really passionate about, and still passionate about. I still think journalism is a really cool and noble profession, despite the fact that I've definitely learned how you can be an agent of spin as a journalist, whether you like it or not, or you can become a part of a narrative, whether you like it or not, or you have to subject yourself to that sometimes, especially if you're working with a major publication, news outlet, what have you. But the one thing I did want to leave on before we leave this story, Beltran is the 9th journalist to have been killed in the country this year, the organization says, and that is Reporters Without Borders. So, obviously a grim factoid there. Very unfortunate, but condolences to Beltran and his family. But moving on, our next story from the Independent. Master's student from India stabbed 2 teens in neck and head on flight that left from Chicago, feds say. Lithuania? Oh, no, that's not it. I just said a word that wasn't there. Lasagna? Like lasagna. Also, this is a random aside. Shout out to the homie who sent lasagna pics. Please send lasagna pics. I know that, I know this is coming out of the blue, but obviously we're post Monday. I didn't mention this in the previous episode, but shout out to the homie, Very Garfield. We love that. Always send news and always send lasagna. I will accept. You can always come to my DMs with that shit. Let's fucking go. And if you want, I will make a lasagna thread. I will do that. I will do that in the Discord. I will do that in the Patreon. Wherever you want, I will love to do that. That is my dream. Actually, we literally have a food corner in the Discord. I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm sorry. A lasagna. I can't get it out of my head now. Flight leaving Chicago. It's Lasagna, right? It's Lufthansa. Someone hates me. Lufthansa, whatever. It leaving Chicago turned chaotic when a master's student from India stabbed a pair of teenagers with a metal fork, assaulted a woman, and pretended to shoot himself during the flight, according to federal officials. The international flight from Chicago to Germany on October 25th was diverted on Saturday to Boston, after which Pranith Kumar Usripali, 28, was arrested and charged with one count of assault with a dangerous weapon. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, a 17-year-old passenger woke up in his seat to find the man standing over him. Usripali then allegedly stabbed at the teen's neck with a fork and proceeded to stab another 17-year-old boy in the head, drawing blood. When flight crew members attempted to subdue Usripali, he allegedly raised his hand, formed a gun with his fingers, put it in his mouth, and then pulled an imaginary trigger, the U.S. Attorney's Office wrote. Immediately afterwards, Usripali allegedly turned toward a female passenger to his left and slapped her with his hand. Usripali also allegedly attempted to slap a flight crew member. The first teen attacked avoided injury as he was wearing a thick sweatshirt. That's so crazy. It's such a crazy scene that unfolds here. He said he had chatted briefly with Usripali during boarding, but didn't have any further interactions with him until the alleged attack. It doesn't say whether or not it was negative or anything like that, but Usripali was arrested once the flight landed at Boston Logan International Airport around 10:46 p.m. Also, just of note, not that it would matter whether or not they did have a negative altercation. It wouldn't give Usripali the merit or reason to stab him with a fucking fork. That's crazy. And then proceed to go on a fucking rampage and then be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it!" That's so wild. That's so unhinged. But I mean, hey, I feel. I don't know, man. We've covered a lot of crazy stories. This is pretty crazy. Maybe not the craziest. I don't know. Where we at? Lufthansa, that might have been the best way I've said it so far, issued a statement after the flight diversion, noting that it was necessitated by the behavior of an unruly passenger who was taken into custody by local authorities upon arrival. Wow, words are wording. Consequently, the onward flight to Frankfurt did not continue as scheduled. We had to make some different arrangements, some accommodations. I'm just gonna skip forward. They apologized. Mea culpa, they said. Let's see. Usripali was admitted into the U.S. on a student visa and is not a legal citizen. He was enrolled in a master's program for biblical studies. No attorney was listed for him as of Tuesday. If convicted, he could face up to 10 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. So yeah, I'll keep you updated if I hear any more from that. But that was what a story. What a story. So high up in the sky. Anyway, I'm gonna take a water break, and then we got to talk about some unfortunate fucking layoffs. Our first story here is coming from CNBC. Had a water break there. Clear the old throat. This is actually a little bit of I don't want to say old news as of yet, but this is originally published Thursday of October 23rd. But Target cuts 1,800 corporate jobs in its first major layoffs in a decade. Target said on Thursday it's cutting 800 corporate jobs as the retailer tries to get back to growth after 4 years of roughly stagnant sales. It marks the first major round of layoffs in a decade for the Minneapolis-based retailer. It announced the layoffs in a memo sent by Target's incoming CEO, Michael Fidelke. I cannot say his name correctly, so that's my bad. To employees at its headquarters. The eliminated roles are a combination of about 1,000 employee layoffs and about 800 positions that will no longer be filled, a company spokesman said. Together, they represent approximately 8%, an 8% cut to Target's corporate workforce, according to the memo. Affected employees will be notified Tuesday. The retailer announced the cuts as it nears a leadership change. Target in August named Fidelke, currently its chief operating officer and formerly chief financial officer, as a successor to longtime leader Brian Cornell. He takes the helm February 1st. I'm skipping a bit here. Its shares have fallen by 65% since their all-time high in the late of 2021. I feel like that kind of makes sense. It's just retail brick and mortar stores are just not what's popping right now. And I feel like, and I'm going to kind of use this to segue into our last story here. I feel like a lot of things you're clinging on to some new hope, which is AI. Like, I feel like if you don't have some kind of AI integration that you can brag to like your investors or people about, then you don't have anything right now, which to me is crazy because I've kind of made my take pretty fucking known that I think AI and like putting all your eggs into this AI basket is vaporware. I think it's like it's a boom bubble thing. I don't think it's something that's going to last forever. But I mean, I've also heard arguments to say, well, okay, even if it isn't as good as we think, even if it does go pop, people still want to be on the bubble because, like, once again, if you're wrong on that and it is the thing that people want it to be or anywhere close to it, then, like, guess what? You're going to be miles behind. You're going to be so fucking just in the dust. And I mean, that is the logic that these corporations are taking. And for that, they're willing to be like, yeah, we don't care about fucking jobs because that's our wet dream, is not having as many people that like pay out anyway. We just have an AI do all the fucking work. That's what we want. So, to kind of close off here and move on to our last story, I just don't think something like a Target, I think a retail brick and mortar that had dreams of, being the Sears of this time, like that doesn't matter to people anymore. Like, who cares if you got produce here? Who cares if you got cool t-shirts and stuff? You could just order it on Amazon. Boom. And if you don't like Amazon, well, there's plenty of fucking places you can order XYZ from so you can feel a little bit more ethical. I don't fucking know. But, like, regardless, you don't have to leave your house. And I think that is a convenience that a lot of people like. But anyway, let's take our last break, and then we'll move on to another round of layoffs, unfortunate. But this is coming from Reuters. I never feel like I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. The only way my tongue works. All right. From Reuters. Amazon to cut about 14,000 corporate jobs in AI push. Amazon said on Tuesday it'll reduce its global corporate workforce by about 14,000 people, with more cuts expected next year in major shakeup driven by the adoption of artificial intelligence at the tech giant. The online retailer began laying off employees across multiple divisions as part of a plan, first reported on Monday by Reuters, to cut as many as 30,000 employees. The company has not confirmed the broader layoff plan, but in a company-wide email indicated further cuts were planned. Amazon is working to compensate for overhiring during the peak demand of the pandemic and to limit costs as it enters its crucial holiday selling season. The layoffs offer an early look at the possibly broad effects of AI on workforces. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy flagged the potential for such losses in June, saying increased use of AI tools and agents would lead to more corporate job cuts, particularly through automating routine tasks. Amazon had about 1.56 million full-time and part-time employees at the end of last year. Its corporate workforce includes roughly 350,000 employees. Workers told Reuters they learned their jobs were eliminated from letters sent to their personal email addresses early on Tuesday morning. You are no longer required to perform work on Amazon's behalf, reads the email from Beth Galetti, Senior Vice President of People Experience and Technology, which was sent to impacted employees and seen by Reuters. Keep wanting to go back to the way I used to say it. She said those workers would be given the option to meet with a human resource employee via video call. Unfortunately, your role is being eliminated and your employment will end after a non-working period. Now, my dear listeners, I would love to hear feedback from y'all. Would you want to sit down with human resources after that? I mean, I can understand if you have like in like an exit interview style situation, like you want to see like, well, since I'm being cut here, I'm being terminated. What is my exit package going to look like? You know, what am I getting like my remainder? You know, yada, yada, yada. What's this looking like? What's that? Like if you have questions like that, I completely understand when you sit down with HR. But my knee jerk reaction is like, I just lost my job. My whole livelihood is being uprooted right before the holiday season. I'm livid. I'm incensed. And I'm not trying to, I mean, I am, like, this is me. I can't help myself. I got to be anecdotal. I got to fucking make this about me somehow. But, like, stories like this always do graze me in certain kind of way. Because I've had a fear of my job being replaced before by technology, by the most rudimentary technology that has already been a thing long before AI. But I remember talking with one of the guys in maintenance, and they essentially were so stoked to try to get this new technology implemented, this automatic baler for the trash compactors. And essentially, this stuff would be so sophisticated. You put the buggy in. We get all these new buggies that would work with the trash compactor, and it would just like almost put it on rails. You press a button, it empties the buggy, it wraps the trash, and then gets it all in these nice little bundles for Rumpke. They would be so happy. And all the company had to do was just say yes. And he kept telling me how cool this technology would be and how, like, you wouldn't even need to be here anymore, Isaiah. And he just would say this with a chuckle. And I would just have to, like, smile and nod. Like, it was so annoying. But at the end of the day, I mean, I just remember feeling like, look, if that is how I go out, then that is the way the way it goes. That's the way she goes. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to warehouse work, when it comes to any job, no one is safe. At the end of the day, they would love to downsize you for free fucking labor. That is tale as old as fucking time. This is a wet dream for any kind of factory owner, any kind of CEO, any kind of corporation. Like this fantasy that you have with AI. That's why they would love to put all their eggs in this fucking basket, man. They couldn't wait for some shit like this. So for me, I'm sorry, I should make this longer story shorter. He did run this all the way up the flagpole. They did do all of the fucking, talk, da. We didn't have the electricity for it, the amperage, if you will. Like literally, we're already like pressed to the gills on that, and they're like, no, we literally do not have the electricity, the electrical power to make that happen, actually. And it would also cost a lot of money, And like he tried to like counter all the stuff about the price, and he's like, oh, I got a guy. We wouldn't even have to use Rumpke. It would be even cheaper. We'd make money. And then like it was just like, look, we just don't have the amps. Could you just go back to maintenance? And I got a little chuckle at the end of the day because my dumb rockhead ass gets to keep pressing the button. Ha ha. But anyway, back to the nature at hand. The people who, are losing their jobs. Once again, that fucking sucks. Not just in the Amazon situation, the Target situation. It's sad to see this shit. Once again, right around the holidays, man. Like, what the fuck? Like, I always hate hearing these stories. So I always do feel a little bit pressed to talk about it because, I mean, it's not just a shutdown. That's rough, man. Like, bills are high. Fucking grocery bills are fucking through the fucking roof. Like, people losing their jobs. It's so hard to get a new job. You know what I mean? So it is tough all over. And I mean, and I'm just saying that from an Ohioan perspective in the good old US of A. I know that it is rough everywhere. So I know we're kind of just spiraling out into a bit of a riff. I thought I was going to read all of this. I'm not, though. We're good. Details. You know me. But yeah, I really hope that we can just keep on marching along, you and I, my dear listeners, and, that we take it one day at a time, and hopefully things just get better. Hopefully things are good for you. I'm kind of just doing this for my rickety armchair, but I really do hope that things are good for you. I always say that shit to myself is that, look, if I'm living in a world where all my friends, all my people are happy, then I'm happy. It doesn't matter, like, whatever state I'm in, it doesn't matter. Like, I know that my people are good, I'm good. Because I wouldn't have made it here without my friends, without my family. Okay? Like, I know that without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. It took a village to get me here. So if that village is happy, then goddamn it, I'm happy. And I hope that I'm playing a part of that like they're playing a part in my life. So, I mean, that has nothing to do with, I guess, this podcast, unless, you're a real one, unless you're a real homie listening right now, then this is value. This is fucking for you. I love you. Mwah, kiss on your forehead. Anyway, I'm not shilling. This is a part 2. You already know the fucking vibes. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com if you need to reach me. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.